Hey guys, and welcome back to Resident Evil 5. In the last episode we completed chapter 2-2 and we got 3 more BSAA emblems and a new weapon called the Dragunov SVD sniper rifle, and we also got a couple new pieces of equipment such as proximity bombs and flash grenades. So that's some very useful equipment. And at the end of the episode we battled a boss known as Popokaramu. So if you guys are having trouble defeating him, just use the proximity bombs and place them on the ground, lure the boss over top, and it will explode, causing him to fall over on his side, and he will be temporarily immobilized. And then you run around the right side and just pump shotgun rounds into him. You can usually get a clip off before he gets up and starts moving around. So if you run out of ammo, all you gotta do is just click restart and it'll take you back to the preparation screen, which is what we're at now, and you can simply just grab a lot of shotgun shells from your safe into your inventory. That way you don't run out of ammo. So I failed to mention the strategy in the video, so that's why I was mentioning it in this video, because that is what we just got done doing. So if you guys are having trouble with that, sorry I didn't tell you this earlier, because by now you probably already beat him. But now that that's over with and we've got him out of the way, we are going to go ahead and get prepared. First of all, I'm going to remove the stuff out of Sheva's inventory and place it in the safe. And I'm going to quickly refill my sniper rifle. And I need to refill my shotgun as well. And now that that's taken care of, we can go to our treasures. And we've got a few new things to sell, such as the jewel beetle. Sell that for 2,000. The diamond square, the diamond pear, the diamond brilliant, and the diamond oval. So if you guys are going for the achievement where you collect all the treasures in the game, just keep an eye out. Because as long as you're following this guide, we will be getting all the treasures. Another thing we can take note of before we head on is that the store has new weapons, such as the Dragunov SVD sniper rifle. So if you forgot to pick that up from inside the locker on the last chapter, you can buy it here for $4,000. And also we now have access to proximity bombs, which are very powerful bombs that can be placed on the ground. So now that we have all that taken care of, we're not going to be doing any upgrading this episode. Instead, we're just going to continue on.
I heard about Irving. Tough break.
Yes, but there will be other opportunities. Sheva to headquarters.
This is headquarters. What's your situation?
There's a high probability that Irving is on his way to an oil field in the Martians. We're rejoining Delta Team and heading there now.
Understood.
Alright.
We got company.
So this
They don't let hap, do they?
this episode is going to be a little bit
Do what you gotta
different
do
than
to stop
normal.
him.
You're going to be in the back of a
The
Hummer,
guns will overheat.
and if you're
If
Prince,
that
you're going to be on the
happens,
main
target
gun,
till they cool down.
while if you're Sheva, you're going to be on the Gatling gun below. So
Got
this is
some
your
sharp cars
first
up ahead.
playthrough.
Hold on
You're gonna
tight.
be Chris. So just try to aim for
This is
the
Captain Stone, Delta Team. I just received
Majini
word
that are
from
on the
HQ.
bikes.
Based on the data you uploaded from that hard drive, most of the townspeople have been infected by parasites known as Los Plagas. The data refers to the infected as Majini.
And
What does all
be
this have to
careful
do with
because as you can
Ouroboros?
see in the bottom right, you see
You
your
got me.
vehicle's
I
health.
didn't say.
Looks like the only way we're getting answers is from Irving.
So your vehicle's health is at the bottom. Whenever that is reduced all the way down, it will be game over and you'll have to restart from a
It's gonna get
checkpoint.
bumpy. Hang on.
So fortunately, there are plenty of checkpoints while you're riding. So if you mess up, you will only have to start from the last checkpoint. Now, if you can manage to kill one of the truck's drivers, you will get an achievement called Drive-By.
Ha! That won't even scratch the paint.
So if you get a chance, try to shoot the driver out of the front of the truck for an achievement called Drive-By. Another thing to take note of is in the bottom right, beside your health, you will see in the center, it shows your gun, and as you hold down the trigger, the gauge will fill with red. And once that gauge is all the way full,
Got some sharp cars up ahead. Hold on tight.
your gun will overheat, and this means you can't shoot for a while.
We're under attack. There are too many of them to handle. Reinforcements are en route. Hold your position until
So
they
as you can
arrive.
see,
Repeat,
I'm holding
hold
down
your
the trigger
position.
and
Let's pick
the
up
red
the pace.
gauge is filling up. So if you let that get full, you will
That's gonna affect the resale value.
end up having to, you will end up overheating your gun to where you cannot shoot. So be very careful, and if the gauge is getting close to full, you're going to have to stop shooting for a little while so that it cools down. The last thing to take note of is that randomly while you're driving, you will have to push random buttons to avoid taking damage, such as when you go around sharp curves or if you drop down. So be sure
There's
to
no getting
have
past
your
that truck unless you
hands
two
on
do
the
something about
correct
it.
buttons, because it's going to you'll randomly have to press buttons. Whenever the truck turns around
Nice.
and you are facing a roadblock, just focus your main fire on the truck that's blocking your path, because once that truck is destroyed, you'll be able to push on through. And you will now enter the
He's trying to ram
final
us into the river. Do
push.
something.
Quickly take out the truck, because if you don't take it out within about 10 seconds, it will ram you off the road and you will get a game over. So once you've blown up the final truck, go ahead and mop up the final guys on the bike, and that'll take care of that.
Hang on.
And after that, you'll be safely on your way to meet up with the rest of the BSAA team in pursuit of Irving, who has made his way to the marshlands.
What could have done this?
to take out the boss known as Ndseu. So the main objective here is just to focus your fire on his face, and when he gets close to you, he will rear up and try to stomp on you. So you're just going to have to keep on firing at his face.
Look, there's something coming out of it.
In order to push him backwards. Now whenever the mutations on his body start to come out, you're going to want to focus fire on that. And meanwhile, you will have some regular Majini. You're going to want to take care of them as well, because they will do damage. And just focus on the mutations coming out of his body. Because once they are destroyed, the main mutation that comes out of his back, you can fire on that to reduce his main health bar. Now you're also going to want to watch out, because whenever he starts to, what I like to call football charge, meaning he's getting ready to ram you, you're going to need to lay into him to stop him before he gets closer. He will hit for massive damage. So once you push him back for the second time, more mutations will come out, and he will start to pick up a light post out of the ground. Now at this time, you have to mash the correct buttons whenever they pop up on the screen in order to avoid him swinging the light post at you. Meanwhile, take out any Majini that are trying to shoot at you from a distance. And there he goes, he picks up the next light post. So you're going to have to focus fire on him at all times. The best strategy I can give you is when he's up close and personal, focus on shooting him in the face, and whenever he backs off, try to shoot the mutations that come out of his chest and arms. Finally, his main mutation will come out of his back. You can focus on that with full force, and once it explodes, that means you have beaten him. He's fairly easy on Amateur, but when you get to veteran and professional, he's going to give you a run for your money, definitely. Especially if you're playing co-op. Now there's one more thing I failed to mention because he didn't do it. His final attack will be he will pull a boulder out of the ground and begin to throw it at you. Now once you see him start to do this, what you're going to want to do is focus all your fire on the boulder, and your objective is going to be to break that boulder before it gets to you. So he will pull it out of the ground and put it over his head, and as soon as he does this, you're going to want to start firing at the boulder that's over his head. Then he will throw it at you, and it'll start bouncing towards the truck. And what you have to do is you have to keep shooting at it while it's coming at you. And if you focus your fire on it and you hit it enough times, it will destroy and break apart before it reaches you.
Are you even sure it's the same person?
Now that is probably his most deadly attack, but unfortunately he didn't use it, so we didn't have to worry about it. But for those of you playing on a harder difficulty, you're more than likely going to see that pretty early in the fight.
You're not going alone.
So just take note that in order to avoid that attack, because most people think it's unavoidable, it's not. All you have to do is destroy the boulder by shooting it.
I'm going with you. These are my people that are dying here.
Sure about this? A second ago you were ready to cut and run.
I can't just turn my back and walk away.
There are no more orders from here on in. It's just us.
We're partners. To the end. Now let's get moving.
Copy that.
So after the fight, Chris and Sheva will get on a nearby airboat and ride it out to the swamps known as the marshland. And after the boss fight and the scenes have ended, that is the end of chapter 2-3. And with that, you should get an achievement, as well as being able to view the Majini title from the library. Now, that information that you can now access will give you info on all of the enemies and Majinis that you have fought, and all of the different kinds of Majinis, such as the Majinis found inside the town, and the bosses that we have fought, as well as the big man Majini and the chainsaw Majini, and also the executioner Majini, which was the big guy we fought at the beginning of the game. So if you want to look up any of the enemies that you faced, if you want to see what they look like or read some information on them, you can do so now from the main menu of the game in the library section. Just look up the Majini file. And with that, we have got our rank for chapter 2-3. Our accuracy was 76.5%. 45 enemies routed, 0 deaths, and a clear time of 6 minutes and 12 seconds, which is pretty quick, putting our overall rank an S, which gives us 1,000 bonus points. So hopefully it went smooth for you like it did for me. And whenever you're ready, go ahead and press start to continue. Now I'm going to quickly give you guys a recap on the boss Ndseu, which was the big ogre looking guy that you fought in the Hummer. First of all, you're going to want to lay into him with full force. Aim for his face to do probably the best amount of damage. And his main attacks, he will try to stomp you. And when he does this, to counter it, all you have to do is keep shooting him in the face to knock him backwards. Whenever he gets knocked backwards, these small mutations will come out of his body. And what you're going to want to do then is focus mainly on those small mutations. And focus on one at a time until you eventually shoot them off of his body. Once they are all shot off, he will hit the ground and a big mutation will come out of his back. Now that is the main the main mutation, meaning that when you shoot that, you're actually taking away his health. So whenever that big mutation comes out of his back, you want to focus on that and nothing else. Whenever that's out, you don't want to be focusing on the small Majini that appear on the left and right, and they either are throwing fire grenades at you or they're shooting with a bow and arrows. Only focus on them whenever he is being pushed backwards. Whenever the main mutation is coming out of his back, that's all you want to be shooting. Because if you're accurate enough and you start firing as soon as it comes out, you should be able to take it out in either 2 to 3 turns, depending on what difficulty you're playing on. So for his other attacks, he will begin to stomp the ground and then rush at you. This is known as the ram, and whenever he does this, you'll know you're going to want to focus on him and just keep shooting him anywhere, but mainly the top of the head. And you should be able to stun him before he gets close to you, because if he rams you, he's going to hit you for massive damage. And on harder difficulties, it could be a one-hit kill attack. The other of his attacks, he will pull the light post out of the ground and begin to swing it at you. Now when he does this, you're going to have to press the correct button that pops up in the center of the screen. If you don't press it in time, you will be hit by the light post that he pulled out of the ground, and that hits for decent damage as well. So make sure to have your finger on the X button, or any button for that matter, because it's random. but it mainly likes to pull the X button on you. Another one of his attacks is he will pull the boulder out of the ground. Now this is what I explained earlier. When he starts to pull the boulder out of the ground, you're going to want to focus fire on the rock, the boulder that he is pulling out. Don't worry about shooting him. You can shoot the rock, and he will pull it over his head and then throw it at you. So whenever it is over his head is when you can start firing. So you'll see it start to crumble as you shoot it, and when he throws it at you, it will bounce directly at you. So you need to keep firing even when it's bouncing towards you, and eventually it should break apart and you should destroy it before it hits you. Now you can notice the red barrels scattered throughout the fight. If you're having trouble with that, whenever he goes to move for either a light pole or the big boulder, all you have to do is shoot the barrel to prevent him from picking up the boulder or the light post. So as soon as you see him start to step in the direction of either the boulder or one of the two light posts, the barrels are perfectly placed right by them. So whenever he is about to pick one of them up, all you have to do is destroy the red barrel that he is standing next to. This will cause him to drop it and prevent him from using the attack. The last thing you need to take note of is he will randomly stomp the ground, and this doesn't really hit for very much damage at all, but it will hit you for some damage even if he is far away. The way to avoid it is there will be a quick button that you have to press, which is usually marked X. So just keep your hand on the X button at all times, because he can hit you from very far away with his ground pound, which is what I like to call it. He pounds the ground, and the earthquake kind of hits you from a distance. So that's a very rare attack, and it doesn't really hit for much damage, but I just wanted to cover it anyways, because for some guys, for some people, this guy is a nightmare to fight. And the last thing to take note of is that there are small Majini, that there's usually two of them with a bow and arrow, or a torque bow, and they're off usually to the right, and one is on the bottom of the screen, and the other one is usually on a higher area of the screen. So every now and then, whenever the boss is not up in your face and like you've pushed him back, just take a look to the right and to the left, because there will be two guys with a torque bow to the right, and even after you kill them, give it about 10 or 15 seconds and they'll come back. So you're going to want to keep taking them out, because they don't really do that much damage, but they do damage. So if you just leave them there, they will end up taking a good chunk of your HP away. And off to the left there is one Majini that pops up, and he usually has incendiary grenades. Now this is what is the dangerous one, because the incendiary grenades not only takes away a good amount of your HP, but it also causes you to catch on fire, which will leave you defenseless for a short period of time, because while you're on fire you will not be able to shoot. So if the boss is right in your face and the guy throws an incendiary grenade and catches one of your characters on fire, you won't be able to shoot the boss, so he's going to eventually either stomp on you or hit you with something. So just keep an eye on the left at all times. The one with the incendiary grenade usually pops up on the left hand side. Well, he always pops up on the left hand side, I mean. So just keep an eye out to the left. If you're on amateur difficulty, which is what we're playing on now, you probably won't see him. And if you do, all you gotta do is quickly turn and shoot him, 1 or 2 bullets and he'll be done. But he will respawn, so keep an eye out, because he is one of the more dangerous of the two Majini that spawns off to the left and right hand sides of the boss. With that taken care of, I hope this information was useful, and that's going to conclude this episode. So I'll see you guys next time, where we head off to the marshlands, which is going to be a completely new area of the game with a lot of good treasure to loot. So make sure you watch the video if you're trying to get a stockpile of gems that you can sell for about $10,000 or $15,000. See you guys next time on Resident Evil 5.